Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast where we'll be discussing the Bodø Glimt game against Tottenham. Tottenham managed to fight back and get a draw. Bodø Glimt 2, Tottenham 2. As we all know, God, that was a tough watch, wasn't it? So Bodø Glimt went 2-0 up, 53 minutes and 66 minutes for Hager. I think that's how you pronounce it, Hager. Anyway, Mickey van der Ven, 68 minutes, great header. And then an own goal from Gunderson on 89 made it 2-2. Let's have a look at the stats. Overall possession, Bodø actually with the larger share of the possession, just over 52%. The Tottenham's nearly 48. XG 2.57 for Bodø, 1.46 for Tottenham, 18 shots for Bodø, 8 for Spurs. 4 on target for Bodø and only 3 on target for Spurs. Touches inside the opposition box. Bodø had 34, Spurs had 20. Goalkeeper saves 2 apiece. Fouls committed, Bodø 11, 7 for Spurs. Corners 4 for Bodø and 5 for Spurs. God, I'm just looking at this XG. I put it back up. 2.57 for Bodø and 1.46 for Tottenham. It's quite remarkable. We'll get into it. We will get into it. Look, we're live on YouTube, X, and Facebook as always. And I've got 3 lovely guests with me to pick the bones out of that this evening. I don't really know where to start, if I'm brutally honest. Let's start with some good news. Let's start with some really good news. We've just reached 192,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you very much to each and every one of you. And some even better news in the under 19s, isn't it? Yes, they, of course, flew out as well and played Bodø on the pitch today. And they won 6-0. Callum Olusesi scored 2 goals and captained the side. So that was a bit of good news. And I thought that would actually spark the main team, the first team, into life and go for the same scoreline. But it didn't happen, as we all know. So, I suppose we better get into it. Actually, before we do, if you want to vote for us at the Football Content Awards, there is a QR code in the top left-hand corner of the screen. Just scan that and vote for the channel. And all of the links are over Chris's social media as well. Right, we better start talking about this, hadn't we? So, without further ado, Gary, how are you? Gary Maloney.
I'm really well, mate. Yeah, I've had a lovely weekend and a great start to the week. But yeah, the only negatives of my whole weekend and this week so far has been watching Tottenham at home to Wolves, which unfortunately I was at, and that one tonight. But you know, both we kind of somehow got a draw. Probably didn't deserve a draw in either game. But I guess that's football. In a weird sort of way, though, Craig, you know, Van der Ven don't pull that player's shirt. We come away with a win, which is bizarre, really. But yeah, it was. I think that was a worse watch than the Bournemouth game. You know, I just couldn't really see us scoring, if I'm honest. But there we go. We got a couple, albeit one was an own goal, and here we are.
Yeah, it wasn't Richarlison's.
No, it wasn't Richarlison.
I'm sure we'll get on to that, Gary. Coming around to the Gary W. Let's call you Gary W. for the night, or Wardy. I don't know what your nickname is, Gary, so could call you Wardy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good, thanks, mate. Yeah, I've been called Wardy enough times over the years at football, so that's fine, or whatever you want it. Wait is another one that my mum used to call me, so I'll respond to all. Yeah, good. I echo sort of with Gary, really. It was a poor performance on Saturday, which I was also at, and yeah, poor one tonight, really. Just I thought it was a bit soulless, really. I thought both performances were a bit soulless, and it's frustrating, if anything.
Yeah. Yes, that's my favourite word on this podcast, Gary, without a doubt. And Tim, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Again, like Gary, frustrated. Gary. And I don't know, I take 2 things out of that game, which is a huge amount of frustration. Just so many things were wrong with that performance. And then yet again, not played well, and we come away with a point. that's the big plus for me. You know, last year we wouldn't have done that. So you know, I jumped out the seat a few times and knocked the dog off the couch just to think, you know, and you know, short of a crossbar and as Gary M said, you know, a shirt pull, we could have won that game, and some really poor finishing from them. We were lucky beyond hell. So, but yeah, I'm a mixture of, oh my God, here we go again, and like, okay, we're pretty soon into this reign of Frank, and we're holding steady.
Just about, I think, about holding steady. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gary M, let's have your overall thoughts on the game tonight, mate.
Yeah, first half was really bad. Like, we were very, very bad. Started slow, didn't look good at all, and a lot of individual mistakes and errors. I mean, I don't know what Bentancur is thinking. That, you know, there's no pressure on. He's just going down the left wing. He's going to, you know, cross a ball in. There's not really any danger as such, and he just lunges in the air, and I'm just like, you know, and he just touched on it now. If it wasn't for their bad finishing, I mean, that penalty, I mean, you have to laugh. It was ridiculous. But just a lot of individual errors, you know, Vicario, Bentancur, Van der Ven, you know, like, we're on the attack and he's pulling back a player's shirt there. Like, if it's the other way round and he's in our box and he's defending, I can kind of understand it a bit. You just hold the shirt a little bit and let him go just so he can't get the ball. But we're going for goal. Very, very frustrating. Vicario again was making me nervous. Some of his kickouts were terrible. But a little bit like on Saturday, the game's ended and I don't feel too bad because I feel like we've got away with murder. Because we've got a draw, but we didn't really look like getting a draw, if I'm honest, mate. You know, I know they hit the woodwork a few times as well as us, but they were definitely the better team tonight. You know, we wasn't. But one, they weren't very good at finishing, and two, we got a bit of luck, really. So yeah, that's it. I was a little bit like that when I left Wolves. You know, I was kind of walking back down the high road, and you can't celebrate, you know, these sort of results really, especially home at Wolves, but you kind of do when you think, well, we're moments away from losing really. So you have to sort of take the positives, but you know, the last two games, the performance and the football and the display has just not been good enough. And people will say, oh, it's the plastic pitch and, you know, we've changed the team around, but it was the same at home to Wolves, Craig. You know, it's just, I just don't know at the moment. It's not looking good. Midfield is non-existent. Defending is really worrying, and we've got nothing up top. So overall, it's not
Overall's not good.
No, but we're in a position where we're not losing many games. So we are kind of still in everything and there and thereabouts, you know. So you can't be too disheartened, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I know what you mean, Matt. I know you. So,
it's difficult, isn't it?
What are your thoughts, Gary W? What's your thoughts?
Sorry. This is going to get confusing.
Gary W and Gary M will be sorted all night. Don't worry.
Yeah. I echo a lot of the thoughts. My biggest issue is the front line. There's no balance to it at all. The issue I really do have is Richarlison is clearly not a centre forward. He has an inability to play with his back to the goal, which continues the pressure on our midfield and ultimately our back line. I think we've definitely improved defensively since last season massively, if I'm honest. However, in a number of the recent games, you know, today and Saturday, his inability to hold the ball up, win a foul. You look at Harry Kane for however many years and what he's doing in Bayern. He will win a quick cheeky foul. He'll get the ball and just, you know, and encourage a little knock on the ankle to just calm the game down, settle things, and then let us get back into sort of a routine of play. And Richarlison just doesn't seem to have that ability to play with his back against the goal, which is clearly frustrating. If you look at last season, I know, you know, I'm getting sort of some pelters on social media already about, you know, we won last season, and yes, we did. However, the front four essentially are brand new. We've lost Song, which was not replaced. We've got a centre forward that's out injured, so another one's come in. Our right winger is completely different, and there's just no balance to that front line at the moment. Thomas Frank clearly likes to build from the back in terms of structure, in terms of when he comes to a club. He did it obviously with Brentford, build from the back and then into the front line. But it's just a big frustration at the minute with the players that we have got, that there's no balance to this forward line. So frustrating. However, look, we came away with a point and we didn't deserve it. So you have to sort of take them, but we shouldn't have come away with a point in that. I feel for Bodø Glimt, to be honest. They were fantastic. But look, last season, going 2-0 down, we would have lost that. There was no way we'd have come back to those type of games. And we have to take that in mind. I know that we're all sit here now and it's still raw. But we have to think last season there is not a chance on Saturday or tonight we'd have come away with a point. And we have in both of them. So there's character there. So that's something to get positive about.
Yeah. Thing is, though, Tim, coming around to you, we can't keep going behind, can we? It's going to bite us in the bum eventually.
It is. And yeah, we've already had that with Bournemouth, haven't we? I suppose there's a couple of things, particularly in the first half, first 60 minutes really, it felt so flat and two-dimensional. It was lots of sideways passing. It was also loads of mistakes, just trapping a ball and passing it on. They were struggling with passing a straight ball. That's not sort of thing you can coach. You should, that level of player should be second nature. So it was really surprising. Midfield didn't play particularly well. He had 3 good midfield players and they were at best average. And I mean, I hardly heard Sarr's name mentioned in that game at all. He was really quiet. But with Gary W, the front line was particularly poor. I mean, give Richie his credit. He's pretty much made that second goal, or with him going in there. But again, he hardly touched the ball. Odegaard just seems, I'm not going to say a shadow of himself because we didn't really see him last season. I'm not quite sure what he is really, because he either passes it back or tries and fails most of the time to go past the player. So I know there's an argument that you should just give him time, and because he hasn't had much of a run in the team. But again, that was pretty poor from him. He hardly saw it. And Johnson was dead quiet as well. So in terms of, I mean, defense wasn't too bad, although Danso, they were trying to pull him out. And every time he went forward the ball, he looked like he was going to lose the ball and give it away. So, 70 to 80% of that team were playing pretty badly for at least 60 minutes. And it wasn't till some fresh legs came on, a bit of creativity, pushing the ball forward, with Xavi and Kudos in particular doing some good stuff. That I was with Gary M. I just didn't think we were going to score. It just didn't even look likely we were going to score. So that at least that change came and something came of that. Before that, it just felt, I wasn't even angry about it. It was just like, oh, here we go. It's just felt dull and unemotional and
flat.
But it seems like him. I think Frank just goes for, I don't want to lose this game in the first hour, and then pinches him for it. But that tactic, as you said, Craig, that's going to come and bite us quite hard, because if someone scores a few goals in that first, then we're really going to struggle. Really going to struggle. If that's a decent Premier League team, I doubt we would have got anything out of that game. They had a close shot. We would have got near them.
No, I agree. And yeah, with all due respect to Bodø, it was Bodø Glimt. And yes, they've got a cracking home record. I get that.
Yeah.
We're one of the only teams to beat them. I don't know if it's the only team this calendar year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw a stat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's incredible itself, isn't it? So, I suppose a draw is not bad, and it's not a disaster. Unlike Liverpool, of course, who lost tonight, and they've actually lost their keeper as well, because they've got Chelsea on Saturday, and Arne Slot's come out and said Ellison will be out against Chelsea. So they've lost 2 in a row. So look, Liverpool is slipping up. So I wouldn't say we've slipped up. We've actually got essentially 2 points from the last two games, but it was bloody awful tonight. Let's come on to this lineup then, carrying on from what Tim was saying, Gary M. What did you make of this lineup? Let's go through it. Vicario, Porro, Danzo, Van der Ven and Spence, Bergvall, Bentancur and Sorr in the middle, Johnson, Richarlison, Odegaard up front, substitutes Brandon Austin, Ben Davies, Archie Gray, Hardy, Kinski, Kudus, Olasisi, Polinia, Scarlett, Simmons and Udogi. Any surprises in there for you or anything?
Not really surprises, but, like he's always going to change the team around. I get that. And there's two ways of looking at this. You can say, a lot of people will say, this is the player's opportunity to go out there and show the manager, fight for their place, and X, Y, and Z. Or you could have the other argument where you say, start with your strongest team, try and get 2 or 3 goals up, and then take the players off and kind of kick back and relax. But didn't really do either. So we changed the team. We went 2-0 down, then changed it up, brought on some decent players who started performing. And, like the guys were saying, that's really when we woke up 60 minutes in with the changes. But it's just frustrating because we tend to do that a lot. We change it up, start with a weaker side. And there's just nothing there. It's flat. There's no creativity. And I couldn't really see us scoring. I know we had opportunities and stuff, but when they went 2 up, I thought they're just going to play this out. They're going to time waste. The ref wasn't giving us much anyway. So I thought, we're just going to lose this tonight. So for me, I would have definitely not started with that side. I would have been a much stronger team, tried to get a couple of goals up, and then changed it. But look, it's easier said than done. Frank's done what he's done for a reason. And you could argue, we've come away with a point away from home with a good Bodø side. So I don't know. I just feel, though, it's an opportunity wasted. We start with the strongest side that we got and, maybe get a few goals up. But it's something that not a lot of teams managers do, really. But I just think when we were 2 down, I just couldn't see a way through, to be honest. So, I didn't think Richarlison was great. Yeah, he contributed towards the equaliser. But, I mean, I think Kudus, whenever he plays, looks really, really good. Van der Ven, although he gave that, the foul and the goal, he had a great game. And then really, you're kind of struggling to sort of say who played really well. And I'm getting a little bit concerned with Vicario. And I think it needs to be mentioned now because, trying to clear the ball out and some of his saving. And he's got this thing where he's kind of powering or punching the ball when he can just hold the ball and stuff. It's kind of putting us on sort of unnecessary pressure. So I'm getting a bit worried about that. I saw it tonight. I saw it at Wolves. And the thing is, I get it with Vicario. He's a goalkeeper and he's screaming and shouting at the players. But you got to really practice what you preach because you're making errors and mistakes as well. And you're shouting at the players. And they're probably looking at you thinking, well, you're not doing much better yourself, mate. So do you know what I mean? It's not like Roy Keane coming out and having a go at you. You've got to take it and up your game. It's Vicario who's flapping at things at the moment. So I don't know. Yeah. I listen. Look, I'm always very positive, and I look at that game and I think we've got away with one. We come away with a draw. You could look at it positively and say if Van der Ven don't pull his shirt and the woodwork ones, we could have won it. You could also look at it the other way and say we could have lost that game 5 or 6-2.
6-3 as just systemic frog. What a great name says here. Gary W. Just coming around to you. Gary makes a good point there about not scoring. And when I tell you that Richarlison ended the match with 10 touches, one of those was the kickoffs, and own goal is our top scorer this season with 4. So are we right to panic this early? I mean, personally, I've spoken about Richarlison. I don't think it's just him, by the way, but I don't think Richarlison is the answer. And I think it just shows we're desperately missing some creativity on the left wing and we're desperately missing a proper number 9.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've been missing that. We all can say we've been missing since Harry Kane left. We never replaced him. And the problem with when you have a player of such quality like Harry was, anyone that's potentially going to come in, probably that we're interested in, they ain't going to come because they're not. They know they're not going to play. And we're going to have to look at 3rd, 4th choices. And Richarlison, was decent at Everton, but he's shown absolutely nothing. And I'm just getting more and more frustrated. And I really detest coming and speaking about individual players and criticism. I hate doing it. And I don't know I don't know why I'm like that. I did do a video recently on Vicario, and it's similar to what Gary just said. There's this ability at the moment to be pushing the ball away. But for me, a striker, a number 9 that's had 10 touches, and one of them was a bloody to take the kick off. He's just non-existent for so much larger part of the game. Look at Saturday, the header that was pushed onto the crossbar. How has he not got on that? It's literally in front of him. Again, within 3 or 4 minutes tonight, the ball's come across. How are you not ready? And you can't adjust your feet. It's just so worrying that we've got a player on £100,000 a week that has this inability to play as a centre forward. Look, when he played out on the left in the Europa League final, I put my hands up. I thought he was fantastic in that.
Yeah,
final.
He was good. He had a good game in the final. Yeah.
What? We've got we just don't have that striker option. Colin Mawani's got the world's longest dead leg in the history of dead legs.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
That's scary. But we've already all played football. We may have all played at different levels. The level I played at, I had a couple of dead legs, and they last 3 or 4 days. And I've never known a dead leg to last so long. And there's just this worry. We desperately need a number 9. And for me, it was my original point was to take pressure off. When we're under pressure and that ball comes up, I was a centre forward. I knew that I had to hold that ball if we're under pressure, and you just win a foul as best you can. And it just doesn't have that ability to hold on to that ball. It's really frustrating. He's just not the answer, and it's awful to see. But I agree with you, Craig. That left-hand side is a big concern. I just don't see anyone there. I mentioned to a couple of people on Twitter that, and I know this will sound a bit strange, but I wouldn't even be opposed to Pedro Porro playing at right wing and putting Kudus out on the left. At least we've got some balance, some balance of 2 players.
Good cross Porro, isn't he?
Yeah, they can both get the ball in the box. Richarlison is going to be in there. Hopefully, he can get onto a header, and you've got Xavi Simons behind. At least we've got some balance.
Johnson possibly.
Johnson is just another one. It's just really frustrating.
He's weird player, Johnson, for me, because he obviously will come on to the goals a bit later, but he's in that plate position to take the shot which led to the Bentancur flick, the one that was disallowed essentially in the end. But he always seems to be in that position, but he doesn't. It would seem he doesn't do much else. But there's still issues at Spurs. There is. I think our performances have gone downhill after the first couple of games. To be honest with you, I don't think it's been particularly good since the second game, it just shows you how much we are missing a Harry Kane or a Heung-min Son when they're at there. You don't realise how lucky we were to have them two, because it's funny, isn't it? The 2 positions where we're struggling at the moment, the 2 positions that Kane and Son played. Tim, what did you make of that lineup? Let's just try and find the lineup for you again. Any surprises or? Were you quite happy with that starting 11?
I was kind of expecting something like that. I thought he'd play it pretty safe, hoping not to concede a goal. But again, the issue with the lineup is that because there's no creative play, there doesn't seem to be an outlet. So it was like just stopping a goal rather than trying to score one. Saying that, Bergvall goes forward, and any half-decent striker should have tucked that away, and Richie didn't even touch it. So in theory, that's a half decent side, player for player. When they're on form, that's a good side, apart from maybe Odegaard. Richie, when he's on form, Johnson, when he's on form, they can all do something. Today, they just didn't do that. And they kind of did a semi-job to only let 1 goal in, more through luck than judgment than anything else. But you got to remember, we're playing, 2 or 3 games a week, and he can't keep playing the same people. Exactly. So I think the fact that we get to, a point in the match where we're 1-2 down, then bring some creative players on is not too much of a catastrophe for me. I suppose one of the issues I've got is that he generally brings the same players on. So for instance, I don't really understand why Dane hasn't got, any minutes at all when Richie's, bless him, has been running his, one thing we'll give him is he runs a lot.
Give me 90 grand a week, Tim. I'm running.
You're running all day long. I know.
And I'm 3 stone overweight.
You'll probably tuck them away a bit better as well, Gary. But sort of 70 odd minutes, why isn't it sticking to the young one on like Dane to do the same trick? If Richie's not getting any joy and not holding the ball out, then put Dane in, because he's a big old fella. He's good in the air. He can do something. So I don't understand that. So there's a few people I think, why are you not getting any minutes in there rather than staying safe? I feel that Frank's being pretty safe at the moment. I kind of expected that. He doesn't want to make big mistakes early on in his career at Tottenham because he knows how much hell he'll get. So I think he's super safe, try not to concede goals, not doing anything too dangerous, and then kind of throwing all the cards on the table at the end of the game. So it wasn't a surprise to me to see that team. When I saw it, I thought, yeah, it sounds about right. It's just that people are disappointed me. I feel like the disappointed father. I'm not angry. I'm just really disappointed in you, Odebear, and and Johnson. Richie, you try too hard. Calm down, son, and just take the weight out of the ball. It's just everything just seems a complete panic to him. So, at the flip side of that, I've got to think we're literally weeks into Frank being there. If we count it, it's not a lot of time to have with those players, and we're doing okay. I think someone said in the chat earlier, let's just put that one behind us and move on to the next one. I'm not going to say a learning curve because every game's a learning curve, but it just feels like he's learnt more about players now and their resilience or their lack of skill, their lack of ability, and something he can work on in training, so that we've got a slightly deeper squad. And for the best will in the world, Dom seems to have been injured forever, and then all of a sudden he needs a bloody operation, which seems quite ridiculous. As Gary said, we had the longest dead leg in history. And Kulu was like that, wasn't it? Oh, he's slightly injured. Oh no, he's not. He's out for 6 months. It's like this is really, and they're all our creative players. So
we're missing all of them, man.
Our creative spine has been devastated. Yeah, so we've got to bear that in mind. He's working with a kind of slightly short pack right from the beginning and doing okay with that. And we don't want to kill our creative players. We don't want Xavi to be completely knackered, because I thought he came on.
No Romero
did a pretty good job. Exactly, and we, the talisman as he are, Mr. Cool, who never loses his cool anymore for some strange reason. The drugs do work, fellas. We really missed him tonight, big time, because that thing he's got at the moment, where that really incisive pass into a midfield player, cutting out about 3 or 4 of their players, we missed that tonight, big time. Because then, to be fair to people like Johnson, he had nothing to run to. He's not good at beating a player. He's going in behind players, and he had nothing played to him. So. It was that flatness to it all, lack of creative players. I think Frank's doing the best he can with the cards he's got and trying to mix it all up so no one's completely knackered. So by December we get another 10 injuries. Remember that, guys, last year. So we don't want that.
I do agree, Tim. And just quickly, I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but you're right. That midfield, Bergvall, Bentancur, Sarr, that's never going to create. Bergvall's probably the most creative out of the three, I'd say, but he's never going to. That was my worry, and I thought, why has he gone so defensive against a team like Bodø? Yes, they try and win the ball high up the pitch, but you'd think we had enough to get by them and enough to score a couple of goals against them, to be honest with you, and create a bit. But you can't do that with that midfield. You'd need a Xavi Simons, and he's obviously trying to rest him. But you're right. He's got to do that.
I think one of my biggest disappointments was that playing this really defensive system, pretty defensive system, yet we didn't defend very well, and we didn't hold the ball very well with 3 players who should defend and hold the ball pretty well. And I think that's one of my issues with it. Not that he played that system, but particularly in the midfield, just couldn't seem to pass or hold on to a ball. They were trying to beat people and missing. No one played well tonight in the midfield. Bergvall was probably the best of the kind of 3, but no one particularly played well in that midfield tonight, until someone like Gray, who we'll get onto that, came on. I really liked Gray tonight. I thought it was great. Until things were mixed up a bit. I don't really understand what that. Maybe seems like a kind of an unconscious kind of meltdown from the players tonight, that they just couldn't pass the ball, which seems really odd.
Yeah, I think we've actually probably covered every single player on the Spurs team within the first 30 minutes, which is probably a record.
Well,
So
should we finish then?
call it
Are
a
we
night.
done?
that's a tick in the box. Right, thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, right. Now, I suppose we better talk about the game, even though that first half was. I can't tell you what I've written down here because I know it's after the watershed, but it's a family show.
Yeah, you Evan and Jeff in there, are you, Craig?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I really want to. Gary M. First. The biggest moment of the match for me, on 2 minutes, the referee got completely wiped out by Bergvall and a couple of Bodø players. Talk us through.
I saw that. He weren't happy either. When he got back up, he was not happy. I thought he was going to get his card out and start knocking players.
He took a whack to the head as well.
He went flying, and I think that's what affected him for the rest of the game because some of his decision making was winding up. And I know Van der Ven wanted to give him a slap in that game. But that first half, Craig, like you said, I mean, I was watching it, and then Glenn Hoddle, it goes to Glenn Hoddle after, and he was saying, that wasn't an easy chance for Assad. It's difficult, and I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, come on, you're a striker, you're £100,000 a week. You should be anticipating that player is going to miss that ball, and that's a tap-in. Now, I know it's unfair to compare Harry Kane, but you could put a lot of players in that position, and come on, they're scoring that goal. I mean, I don't think you can excuse that. And that was really just a glimpse of what was to come in the first half because it was bad.
Mate, we'll come. Actually, let's talk about it because on 4 minutes, there's a bit of a warning. Vicario made a save from a distant shot for Bodø. Yeah. And 8 minutes, the one you're talking about, Bergvall crossed. Very good low cross. I think Richarlison, to be fair to him, was caught out a bit by, there was a slight touch from the defender and it got caught under his feet. But I'm with you, a striker needs to anticipate that, and it didn't look like he was anticipating anything. No. So he should have done better there. He should have 100%
at least get a shot on goal,
Yeah, and he didn't do either, did he? Let's be honest. No. 27 minutes, Bodø went close with another header. Vicario just managed to catch. I think it went straight into his arm, so it wasn't too bad. On 32 minutes, the incident you're talking about, Gary, we'll just stay with you for this. Bentancur conceded a penalty, definite foul, and then Herg obviously fired the penalty over the bar. So talk us through that whole few minutes.
I was just watching it and I just couldn't understand why Bentancur has jumped in like that. I mean, listen, look, he's going down the left wing. He's going to cross the ball in. There's not really any immediate danger. There's no real pressure. And he just comes charging in and he actually goes up in the air. It's a penalty all day long, but there's just no need for it. I don't know why. We watch this every week and we just see individual mistakes. And I'm thinking, a player like Bentancur, I just don't really understand why
he didn't need to do it.
Thankfully for us, the Bodø player was awful.
Well, let's just have a look at the penalty. I mean, that was
I was expecting the ref to do that. Yeah, it was like, conversion done.
How did he get it that high? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, it was worse than Chris Waddle's one, wasn't it, for England? It was terrible. I mean,
completely.
And that's the thing, lads. You got to bear in mind. I mean, if they were a little bit better at finishing and stuff, I mean, they could have probably had 5 or 6. And that's the thing. Like in a game away to Bodø, okay, you can sort of ride your luck and get away with it. But you start playing some of them decent teams in the Premier League and you play like that, we're going to get absolutely hammered, because, listen, they had a lot of good chances, Bodø, not just that, but there was a lot that was almost as easy as the penalty and they were just hitting them wide over and, it could have been a very different night. But, listen, look, going back to Bentancur, I just don't understand it. I know we're kind of known for players sort of jump. We've had that with Sanchez, you know, Emerson Royale. They've all done it, Dyer. But I just don't understand that one because we're not really under any pressure. Game was going fine. It wasn't really any, you know, threat Bodø at the time. And he actually goes up in the air. I just don't know. I don't know. Only Bentancur knows, but I definitely think at half time we should have gone and got that ball, Bentancur.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Gary W, coming around to you. I mean, the not much else happened in the first half, to be honest. 38 minutes, Helga fired wide for Bodø, and Furt fires over from 7 yards. If you remember that one, it was cut back to him, and he just again put it straight over the bar. Were you concerned at that point that we were riding our luck?
Yeah, I think I was pretty concerned quite early on. I think once the penalty, I was thinking, this was a slight worry. Again, it was a front line for me. I know I keep saying his name, but Richarlison just wasn't giving us anything to relieve this pressure. There was consistent pressure coming back, and the defenders can get set, but if that ball's going to keep getting back, they can't set. You can't reset yourself in positionally as a back four. You can't do that as the midfield three either. And we need an outlet. And we had Johnson on there that quite frankly did absolutely nothing to help us as an outlet. I thought Odeberg again is very lightweight in terms of physicality, and passing was poor. A number of times just getting all away unnecessarily, and I found that quite a lot with that front three. And if you're not taking pressure off, you're just going to keep encouraging it. And at one point, a team is going to punish you. I think we just came up a little bit lucky that their finishing, like Gary was saying, just wasn't good enough. Any other team in the Premier League, however, they're sticking 2 or 3 of them in the back of the net. So I think we got keep ourselves a little bit lucky, but yeah, concerns was pretty quick for me. When obviously looking at the team, I echoed your thoughts, Craig. That midfield three worried me a little bit. I didn't know where the creativity was coming from. I thought maybe we're just looking for energy in there, and I don't like this modern way of football where it's just we're coaching energy. It feels like, and we're not coaching to go and win a game of football, or we're coaching out creativeness out of players and out of teams.
Yeah,
you look at. I watched Jack Grealish last night. I thought he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah,
yesterday. Oh, it's brilliant. It was so fun to watch. I thought to myself, there ain't many players like this anymore, and it's being coached out of the game. And we're putting 3 players in the middle of the park that basically play exactly the same. Just some are slightly deeper. So yeah, that I echo sort of what you were saying earlier, Craig, on that as well.
It's just boring. It was boring to watch. It reminded me a little bit. We were saying in our chat room. It reminded me a little bit. Dare I say it? When Nuno was manager of Spurs, not quite as bad, but it's very similar. But we've definitely got away with one tonight. But you're right. Van der Ven was screaming at him to hold that ball, Richarlison and the other 2 up front, and it was just coming straight back. And it's never good. Tim, before we come to you, let's hear from Thomas Frank.
Well, Thomas is here in Norway. Thomas, a dramatic game. It's finished 2-2. What was your take on it?
Yeah, very, very dramatic. I think the players showed great attitude, great mentality, great determination, which I think is a very, very important part to have in a team. The players are really, really fighting hard, and that kept us in the game and got us back into the game. And got a 2-2 after being 2-0 down away from home against Bodø. That is very good up here. The other thing is that I think until 2-0 goal, I think Bodø was better than us today. I think we struggled a bit with the way to defend without them creating, let's say, massive chances onto the 1-0 goal. Then we struggled a little bit, not enough times to get aggressive into the high pressures 1-2. And then I felt on the ball, I think we should have got out more times. We only had a good spell in first half. We should have done that more often. But I think there was signs of something better. Second half, then we got down, and then we showed that top mentality to come back into the game.
Given the way that the game panned out, were you happy with the points come the full-time whistle?
Yeah, I think we need to be happy with the point. It's when you're down 2-0, 22 minutes to go in Champions League away from home against a very, very good home side, then I think we need to be happy with the point. And I think the way we show again character, that will bring us a long way. Very happy with that in the players.
It's really interesting. If you look into the stats, only once before have we had a better start in the Champions League after 2 games. We've got 4 points. That's pleasing, isn't it?
That's definitely pleasing. I think Champions League is Champions League, and it's very difficult. I think everyone should know how good Bodø is up here, and I think also fair play to them. I think they had an extra level to their game compared to me. Of course, I was not here, but if I should look at them, I think that was that they did well today.
You think there are more positives overall then, given the final results and the fact we've come back again?
Yeah, I think for me, there's still bits we learned today. Definitely, I always do that a lot. But I also think the positive again which is super, super important. When we go down, we stay in the game, we keep fighting, we keep doing the right thing. Today, I think we kept the structure better than against Wolves and kept doing the right thing, which I think was important.
Tim, next 2 Champions League games, obviously we've got Monaco away and Copenhagen at home. Now, how do you see Frank setting up for these 2 games? Because obviously he's touched on there about defence. He said as well that Bodø didn't have many chances up until the goal. I disagree with him there. I thought they could have been 2-0 up by then.
Oh,
so what has he got to do differently against the likes of Monaco and Copenhagen?
I don't think he will do much different, but he needs to bring some creativity into midfield. Well, there's a few things really. One, he talked about the structure, kind of holding it together, but there were definite inherent problems in how they dealt with Bodø today. Like, for instance, the guy who scored in the end, Howder, whatever his name was, he cut inside every single time. He never went. I don't think he ever went outside, and we just let him do it. So I think there's definitely some coaching to go on there to how to defend properly sometimes and how to hold a ball. But we 100% need some creativity somewhere in that midfield, and he needs more balance. I can't remember, one of you guys said it, that the front line needs to be more balanced somehow. And I don't know how you do that with some injured players, but there needs to be something. I don't think you can switch out all of the players we have that are playing half decent to ones that are kind of maybe more second string. I think you need to mix that up a bit more. So, for instance, Gary W was talking about, Richie just not holding up the ball. Well, then do something different. Bring Kudos on and stick him as a false 9. And he holds up the ball from an elephant, doesn't he? Nothing gets past him. So just do something different and mix it up. And I think he's going to have to start thinking about how to slightly be more creative and how to deal with this, I'm not going to say injury crisis, but the lack of creativity. Cross fingers that, Mr. Deadleg's back sooner rather than later, and maybe he should give someone like Dane Scarlett a go, bit of a run out against someone like Copenhagen, because it's the perfect opportunity. Because if someone like Richie's only getting 10 touches, one of which is a kickoff, then I'm not kicking Richie, because I think we've given him so many chances. He needs to give someone else a bit of a run out to say, well, go on, prove to me you can do something. And I don't think he's always doing that. He's playing it safe. I can understand why he's playing it safe, but he needs to take a touch more of a risk here and there to the starting lineup and not just play, right, we're going to play 3 defensive midfield plays, which is in essence what he did. You need 2 and an attacking one, or maybe change the formation slightly so it's 2-2-2 rather than just two up top, or one and behind, and then a slightly more flooded midfield, something a bit different. But to give him his credit, he's just trying to set them up to play at the moment in a certain way. And I think if I'm kind of guessing it right, by sort of Christmas, he'll have 2 or 3 different ways of doing it, because he's well known for changing his system, isn't he? Back 4, back 5, flooding the midfield, having false 9s, doing all sorts of stuff. At the moment, I think he's just trying to kind of stabilize things, which he's kind of done. I think, maybe not by Christmas, maybe November, he starts tinkering a little bit more and bringing people in when he's getting people back from injury.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you, though, Tim? Because you're saying about Moani playing, right? Even throw Richarlison in this, they need the service as well. centre forward needs the service. And when Kudus came on, you saw the difference, right? Between Johnson and Odegaard, and we could do with some help from the left-hand side as well. But if you're a striker and you're not getting the service, you can't score the goals. Not everybody's a Harry Kane that can make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to deal with that, like you're
wasn't
saying.
Wasn't there an argument that Mikey Moore might come back at Christmas? I mean, because he would have been perfect to have around in back pocket, wouldn't he, to bring on someone like a Mikey Moore rather than Odegaard? That's easy enough to say in hindsight. But I think there was some discussion, rumours going on that Mikey might come back, in the new year, which I think would be quite handy, because we just haven't. Brennan's got a lot of good qualities. Finishing is the main one, but he doesn't beat players. He's not overly creative. He's not overly fast. I'm not selling him, am I? But he can finish a ball.
He's just good for tap-ins, isn't he? He's like Gary Lineker, man. He didn't score many goals from outside the box.
Exactly. But then, I suppose it's just the interesting part is I can understand why he's rotating the team, but you can't rotate all the creativity out of the team, which is kind of what he's doing. He needs to, there needs to be balance in there, but he's learning. He's learning who he's got and who's going to put out for him and who's going to go the extra mile from him. And I think he's learning that pretty quickly. What he said from that interview, isn't it? There's a lot to learn from this. There certainly is, because you bored the crap out of me for at least 60 minutes.
Yeah, it was tough.
Well, that's right. And just stay with you, Tim, for this first goal and certainly learning stuff. This Hauger, I think is.
I'm going to go Hauger. Yeah,
Hauger. Let's go with Hauger. So obviously there. We can see in the first. We'll talk us through this goal, Tim. I thought it was poor defensively.
It was poor because he wasn't going on the outside. I can't remember. Someone tell me if I'm wrong that he did go on the outside and cross at one point, but I think 99 times out of 100, he always came inside, and everyone just let him go and let him go. No one actually moved out to him and said, "I'm going to take you on, sunshine. You're not getting past me." So in the end, on a number of occasions, he did that. He kind of faded out and then curled it into the back corner. It was almost like classic Sonny, if you like. And they should have known he was doing it because that's all he did. But they didn't seem to learn. And it's not the back four, it was the midfield players. It was Bentancur standing there. He should have been moving out and blocking him from going inside. And
this image, Tim, sorry to jump in there. Obviously, he's just about to cut inside around Porro. Sorry for viewers listeners on audio. You won't be able to see it. We're just showing a picture of how Hauger cutting inside around Porro. Now, there's a player going around the outside, obviously doing the overlap, which Porro doesn't know what to do, but you obviously told as a defender to, he's in that. He's basically got 2-on-1 there. He's going to have to go with the ball. There's Bentancur, as you say. Now, somebody should be marking that guy doing the overlap, shouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, either Bentancur's got to come across, which I think he did in the end, but no one came behind him, and he literally strolled into the box. So he's cutting in, for those on the audio there, he's cutting in from the edge of the 18-yard box, cutting in halfway through the penalty box, heading towards the centre circle and just curling it literally unimpeded into the back corner, which is a kind of so much time and space. And, it was, I can't believe that no one was walking out, like a Sarr in particular, maybe, or a Bergvall, if Bentancur's like taking up with that other guy overlapping, is coming out and actually saying, "You're not getting past me." Because by the time he cuts in, next couple of yards, there's literally no one in front of him, right in the middle of the penalty area, which seems just a gross, error of marking from someone.
Yeah.
And that's not the only time he did it. That was the first goal, but he did it all night and caused us we could have easily conceded 2 or 3 more like that.
I thought he was a phenomenal
great player. Great player.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary M, let's come around to you. Spurs goal that wasn't a goal. 55 minutes, Porro hits the post from a free kick, comes back out to Johnson. Johnson shoots, Bentancur flicks in, but VAR rules it out. Now, I've got an image of this. Now, was this a foul? Should this have been ruled out? And be honest.
I think so, yeah. I mean, he's pulling on his shirt at the end of the day, and then he's sort of like pulling on his shirt like, you're going to give VAR an opportunity to get involved. Now, he doesn't need to do it. That's the thing. There's no need for Van der Ven to be holding that player's shirt, albeit it's soft. He only grabs it for a bit. Now, if he's up the other end and they're trying to get a goal against us, I get that. If Van der Ven's defending it, you get hold of the shirt a little bit and let go and stuff like that. But I mean, he did cost us a goal there. I know he put it right, you know, when he got a goal for us, but ultimately he did cost us a goal there because I think it is a foul, and I wasn't surprised that it got disallowed because as soon as I saw it, and then the ref goes over to the screen, you know, there's only one thing going to happen anyway. But I think it was a foul, and I think it was a bit silly from Van der Ven, if I'm honest with you, mate. I just don't think he needed to do it. So yeah, it was a bit frustrating, that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a goal that did count, Gary, same with you, is on 66 minutes, and Bodo's second goal. Hauke scored his second goal of the night, and again another cracker. Yeah,
great goal that was. Absolutely perfect. And at that point, you're just thinking to yourself, "This is it. We're not going to come back now." I just had given up. I wasn't even angry. I was kind of laughing, thinking, this is just going to get from bad to worse. I was actually quite surprised because once they went 2 up, especially, you know, it always tends to happen like that. You have a goal disallowed, you know, by VAR, and then, you know, what happens? Team goes up the other end, score. It's, you know, you just know it's going to happen. But, you know, fair play to the boys. I know it's not, you know, you can't get too excited about it because the thing is, right, I look at that game today and you look at that and you think, is this a team that could win the Champions League? And I think you could safely say, judging by that performance, Tottenham got absolutely no chance. You know, we've got a long way to go. Players will come back in and stuff like that. But just looking at that performance of a whole tonight, we don't stand a chance in hell, do we? We really don't.
Gary, just coming on to that goal, slightly before that, Vicario made a shocking clearance, which kind of actually led to them getting position. What have you made of Vicario this season?
Not good. He's a real worry, and he's kind of reminding me of Lloris in his last year. He's flapping at things. He's just not coming and getting balls, and he's just doing unnecessary things that he doesn't need to. And that, look, I know it wasn't the easiest ball played back to him, right? I think it was from Van der Ven, but you either just let that ball go out of play, or you deal with it. What you don't do is kick it right back into a dangerous area. It's just ridiculous. There's absolutely no need for it. And he's been doing it a lot, Vicario. I'm sorry. I'm like Gary W. I don't want to call players out, but Vicario is really starting to frustrate me, you know, and he's becoming a little bit of a worry. You know, he's not going to be dropped. He's not going to be, you know, taken out of the Premier League and stuff. But I don't know if Vicario is the answer for us, Greg, because he's making a lot of mistakes, mate. Doesn't look confident on the ball, you know, especially with his feet. He does not look good. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. He doesn't worry me. Great shot stopper, but
brilliant.
He's prone to an error or two. And Simmons and Kudos had just come on slightly before that goal for Johnson and Bergvall. Gary W. just coming onto you. Were you a bit more buoyed by the fact we was bringing on Simmons and Kudos?
I
think of creativity, really.
Probably, look, we could have done it a lot earlier. I think maybe even half time. I was thinking someone's got to come in there. There was nothing creative going on, so I was hoping that maybe something at half time. But look, credit where credit's due. We got ourselves back, and they were the impact on there. They definitely impacted. For Archie Gray really impacted it as well. I thought he played very well. I thought he played very well against Doncaster as well. Actually, I went to the game and coming on to goalkeeper situation. Well, Kinski, the save against Doncaster was absolutely phenomenal, and
was good.
I don't know if we could start giving him a little bit more of a game. He's certainly filling out a bit, and he's still a young man. But yeah, I was pleased with the substitutions. Certainly those three. I really like Javi Simmons. I really like Kudus. I think Kudus is just he's phenomenal, and he relieves a lot of pressure, and he also creates. And I think just the more playing time with Porro down that right, or whoever else might be down there, Spence, for instance, and the more games he gets under his belt, I think he's going to be one of our best players by quite some distance. That's the hope. But yeah, I would probably have liked to have seen it earlier. Maybe even at half-time. I know that sounds a little bit...
he doesn't make many half-time subs, though, does he, Thomas?
No.
He doesn't seem to ever do that. And
always after an hour or so.
You feel like he's very much... what's the best word to use? Patient. Overly patient.
Always 60 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Well, stay with you, Gary. 68 minutes, Spurs actually scored, and it counted this time. Van der Ven, of course, with the header from a Porro cross. Talk us through this goal.
Yeah, no, a great cross again. Porro has got a great delivery on him. And this is why I said in my earlier point, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him a little bit more advanced in his position and maybe a Spence behind him to help with this balancing issue. He's just got a great cross on him. And Mickey's, no one's going to beat him. And he's a big boy, and he clearly was very determined tonight. Saw a little bit different side of him today. A little bit aggressive, actually, in certain areas, which I quite like. He was, I think he took that captaincy really to heart of, I'm going to put this team on my back. And look, that mistake for the disallowed goal, and he's gone up there straight away and said, no, I'm going to score this. And all credit to him. Great finish, great header.
It was, wasn't it? Tim, what did you make of this finish by Van der Ven? It does seem to be that tonight you could see him almost. I was surprised, actually. He was captain. I thought he might have given it to Vicario or Porro, but he's obviously given Mickey the chance. What did you make of Van der Ven tonight?
I was really impressed with him because he was up for it. He was, it's not only the sort of slightly more aggression than we normally see. He was in the referee's face, talking to him all the time, arguing decisions, not in a bad way, but in a kind of much more assertive way. I mean, he's still really young, right? And even when he made that error, he took that right winger out, didn't he? With a slightly dodgy tackle, but enough to, left a bit on there to say, I'm not going anywhere, sunshine. He's got the speed. So I was really impressed with his leadership today. I can't remember how old he is, but he's still a child for me, obviously. But he's definite captain material for the future. And I think that was it was a pretty simple finish, but he's still going to make it, and he knocked that in really hard. Beautiful cross from the right from Porro, right on his forehead. And that's what we were missing, that kind of speed where it wasn't, because we were very slow in the build up again. When we took the pace up and we were taking early crosses in, didn't allow them to set, there was spaces all over the place. And I think the commentator said Glimt Bodø always concede. So, luckily we're at it. But yeah, back to Mickey. He's a legend already, isn't he? If anyone tries to steal him, I'm not having it. Not having it.
No, I think he's hopefully going to be sticking around for many years to come. Yeah. I think we're a completely different team without Mickey Van der Ven in it. Just a phenomenal player. 69 minutes, Tim. Paulinho comes on for Sarr. I can't remember which one you said about Sarr. He was quite quiet tonight, wasn't he?
He was. I made a note while I was watching it and going, "Where's Sarr?" He was. I can't remember the commentators saying his name almost at all. Maybe the ball was going through him occasionally. He just had a really, really quiet match. I don't know why that was. He seemed to be hiding a bit. Wasn't making many tackles, not doing anything. No. And I think it was the right move. I mean, obviously we've got to be careful to, bring the elderly on not too often, because we need to save his legs, because he is, one of our best signings over the last few years, I think. But it was the perfect time to bring him on, to steal it up a bit, to bring some maturity in. There was no panic. Everyone was taking their time getting on. So it was I think it was the right time to make that substitution. It was the right time to completely refresh that midfield, because by the end, I think you've got Gray, Paulinho and Simmons, I think, in the midfield, which is, literally not just in personnel, just in field. That's a completely different midfield. Gray is not just a stopper, he's really creative as well, as we've seen. So I think those subs were perfect. I think perfectly timed. I think about that why he does that at 60 minutes. I think he's because he's like the teacher. I think he likes to give, if he's disappointed in his pupils, he likes to give them a good firm talking to at half time. And if they don't pull their socks up, then he'll give them detention at 60 minutes and take them off. I think that's how he deals with it. So that kind of makes more sense to me, rather than dragging them all. Right, I want to do this, I want to do that, see if it works. No, it's not worked. Fine, you're off, and I'm doing something new. And 60 minutes is about the right time, I think.
I think you're right. I mean, when I used to play, and we were having a particularly bad game, which was probably most weeks, the manager would say, right, you start in 11, you've got 10, 15 minutes to prove to me that you're going to go and win this game, or else you're off. It happens all up and down the country, doesn't it? Gary, before we come to you, let's hear from Mickey van der Ven.
Well, Mickey is here in Norway. Mickey, a real dramatic game this evening. What was your take on it?
Tough game, really tough. 2-0 down, so I think I can be happy with a point.
So many factors to consider, especially in the second half, with obviously the penalty missed earlier in the game and then the disallowed goal that we had. Are you happy to come away with a point given what happened?
Yeah, but especially what I said, when you're 2-0 down, you can be happy when you play and then you see the game overall that we were struggling. You can be really happy with a point.
How does it feel to score your first Champions League goal?
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. Of course, I'm happy also we get the point, because otherwise, if you lose 2-1 and you score, it doesn't really matter. But happy to score my first goal, for sure.
How important was the timing of your goal straight after theirs? Obviously, we did it earlier in the game as well, but it got ruled out. But to keep hitting back every time they scored was quite important for us, you felt?
To be honest, did we score quite fast after the second goal, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that's also important, because I think that gives some extra pressure on them as well. So they knew if we scored a 2-1 straight away, they need to drop, and we are coming. And I think we played really well after this. We got the point.
You were captain this evening. How proud were you of that achievement?
Yeah, really proud moment. Happy to help the team as well today, and I was hoping for a better performance for our team, but I'm happy with the point, and really proud moment for myself and my family, of course.
We know that you're a leader on the pitch anyway, but to have the armband, did you find yourself with any extra responsibilities tonight?
No. I just did what I always needed to do, and that's it. Yeah.
Gary, obviously you could see the smile on his face there when he was talking about the captaincy. That obviously meant a lot to him, didn't it? Having the Spurs armband tonight.
Yeah, it did, and I think he lived up to it. Listen, look, it's a little bit annoying that he did that little shirt pull, but that was part of his game tonight. Do you know what he reminded me of tonight? Do you remember the Wayne Rooney one where he sort of like kicks off with the ref, and then he goes and scores straight after, like smashes it in? He was a little bit like that tonight, Van der Ven. He was a bit like Wayne Rooney. And although he got booked, I mean, I think it probably was a yellow card, that tackle he went in for, but he did get some of the ball, but he did leave some on him as well. But you kind of don't mind that. And I think overall his play, I think he was annoyed with himself as well as the referee as well for getting that goal disallowed. He probably felt in his mind, he knows he pulled that shirt a bit, and then he's kind of let the team down, himself down a bit, but he's angry with the ref as well. And all those things, he just comes in and smashes that ball in, gets his head behind his whole body. And he was great. And I love him in interviews. And he's a great player. He is world class, Van der Ven. And I hope we have him for many years to come, because he's one player you can always rely on. The pace, the attitude, everything about him is just spot on. I don't want to put dampers on it with the shirt pull, but take that aside. I mean, tonight as well, being the captain, you couldn't really ask for anything more. I thought he was brilliant, and he is brilliant for us most of the time, isn't he? He
is, and probably actually, I mean, obviously he was missing his centre back partner Romero tonight, which I think was a loss, as we've touched on.
Definitely.
One play we probably haven't mentioned, because I don't think he did anything particularly wrong or outstanding, was Danso. Obviously still playing with that headband on. So it's quite a deep cut, but I thought he was okay, Danso.
He was all right,
yeah. Gary took obviously, where are we? 82 minutes, Graham Udogie came on for Spence and Bentancur. 84 minutes, Kuda's crosses. Odebear hits the bar. They actually hit the beans on toast and bar, I think.
Stanchion.
Stanchion, that's it. Yeah, the cross. But like I said, it was Odebear, wasn't it? Yeah, good header, actually. 88 minutes, Hermansen hits the bar again for Bodø. God, there was a lot of woodwork hitting tonight. And then at 89 minutes, Gary, staying with you, we had this Gunderson own goal, even though Richarlison was probably going to claim it. But talk us through this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I felt like our chance had gone. And especially when they went up the other end and hit the woodwork as well, I just thought, we're not going to get anything here. But fair play to the team and the players. And listen, I think Richarlison had a not a very good game tonight, but he did make himself a little bit of a nuisance. So you have to give him some credit for that own goal, because if he's not in there and being a bit of a pest, we're not going to get the goal. So you have to give him that. And it was just nice. It was a good timing to get the equaliser. I didn't really feel, though, when we got that equaliser, we would then go on and win the game. It was more, I don't know how you guys felt, but I was kind of just hoping that we could hold on and get the draw, which is a bit of a worry when you're away to Bodø. You know, you want to kind of be feeling like you're going to go and get the winner. I don't even know if the players felt they could get the winner at that point. But listen, look, you know, they all count. An own goal, like you said, Craig, is our top scorer this season. But, you know, if we're getting them crosses in and we're causing problems and you know, the players, you know, Richarlison isn't the best player. And if he can't score himself, if he can make the other team score for him, then I'll take it.
Absolutely. And it was a good cross by Archie Gray. I couldn't remember actually who flicked it through to him. Yeah. I can't remember who flicked it through. It was a great pass, but there's a great cross by Archie Gray as well, wasn't it? He played well when he came on, didn't he, actually, Archie Gray? Yeah. Yeah, he was very good. Gary, any other player you want to talk about? Because that's pretty much the end of the game. Bodø fired wide again, but the game ended 2-2. Anybody else you want to talk about, Gary, before we move on to previewing Leeds?
All I'll say very quickly, for me, again, I just really, really love and enjoy watching Kudus. For me, when Kudus gets on the ball, holds it up, I never have that feeling. You know, when Richarlison gets the ball, you think he's going to lose it or go over. When Kudus gets that ball, it's the only time I'm really kind of sit up to attention, or if I'm at the game, I'm looking and I'm thinking, what's going to happen? I think he's a really positive, exciting player. And for me, he's probably my favourite player of the season. I really, really, really love Kudus. And I think he's a beast. And he's got the technical ability and he's got the strength and he makes things happen. And I think, again, you know, when he was playing tonight, I thought he was really, really good. So for me, Kudus, really good positive.
Yeah, difficult to pick a man of the match for Spurs as well tonight, of course, because I don't think it was the best performance. Let's move on. Let's move on to Saturday's match, of course, against Leeds. And for me, there's two things, and you know what I'm going to say. Yeah. 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday. Coming around to you, Gary W, on this. 12:30 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday, and it's the last game before another international break. So what can go wrong? What can go wrong, Gary W?
Put a fiver on us losing. We don't win games before international breaks. I think we've lost the last 9 in a row. I think off the top of my head, maybe 10.
Yeah. Is it really that many? Christ.
Yeah, it's been a 8 or 9, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 9. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 9. Happy to be corrected though, which is concerning.
If you are corrected, it'll only be because it's 10.
Yeah, this is it. I think it dates back to Conte as well. So yeah, slightly worried. Look, we've gone to, and I don't know about you guys, but it was annoying me, and it was annoying one of my friends that the amount of times they told me apparently this game was played in the Arctic Circle. You know, they didn't mention it 900 times.
Yeah.
The game. So we're flying from apparently the Arctic Circle to then play early kickoff, and it's a difficult one. And it's away. Look, Leeds are Leeds. They're going to be up for it.
Yeah, of course.
Well, let me just give you some stats, Gary, about this game. Leeds sit 12th in the Premier League. They've played 6, won 2, drawn 2, lost 2. So, you know, completely even. The last match, they drew 2-2 at Bournemouth. They've scored 6 goals, conceded 9. Spurs record at Ellen Road in the Premier League. They played 15, won only 4, drawn 3, lost 8. And the fixtures' top scorer is Teddy Sheringham, still on 7 goals. It's probably because Leeds have been in the Championship for so long, which is not surprising. So I suppose the last questions for you all on this. Thoughts on, stick with you, Gary W, for this. Thoughts on the lineup. What sort of lineup should Thomas Frank go with? And give us a score prediction as well. Who do you want to see in that lineup on Saturday?
Initially, what's Teddy up to on Saturday? Is he fit?
Is he fit?
Get him back.
He can hold the ball out. Yeah.
I know. He'll win us a foul. It's a difficult one. I think we need to go in strong. We need to finish off that international break strong. I'd like to, obviously, I want us to win. I want us to win every game, but I think this is a game there for us to win. That they beat Leeds at home. and Wolves away, I believe, off the top of my head. I think they're unbeaten at home this season. I think they drew the other two. So it's going to be a difficult place to go. And Leeds has always been a difficult place, but traditionally they were quite up there during a certain period of time, weren't they? Champions League, etc. So it's not going to be easy. And let's be fair, I don't think any game in the Premier League is easy now. There's not any real givens. So it's going to be a tough one. I want to see us more balanced, certainly in the front line. For me, bit like what Tim was saying, but there's that saying, don't fall in love with a lone player. And I'm really, really trying not to. But I think I have kind of slightly fallen in love with João Palhinha.
You've got a man crush there, haven't you? I know, I can tell.
It's just
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
And I was at the game where, he ran to the corner. That's where I sat with his shirt off. And yeah, it's one of them. He has to play for me. He changes things for us, and he's something we've been crying out for a long time. I think we need to build our midfield around him. He is our anchor, and we need someone progressive. I wouldn't be opposed to Archie Gray playing. I know it's against his old club. I wouldn't be opposed to him playing, and maybe Xavi as well. But I really want to get this balance sorted. That's my hope, and obviously a big 3 points going into the international break. And I'd like to see Kolo Muani at least make the bench. Otherwise, this is the longest dead leg in history.
Yeah, I agree. Well, give us a score prediction, Gary. What are you going to go for?
I'd like to, sneak a 1-0 would be nice, but a good 1-0. If we can do 2, that would be even better. But I'm concerned where the goals come from. I think we've got enough at the back to hold them out in certain areas. They're a good team, but if we could go with a 1 or 2, I'd be very happy with that. Another clean sheet, obviously, that'd be fantastic. That'd be 7 then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's kind
crazy
of
when you
unheard
think
of.
about last season, right?
But that's it, though, isn't it? It's so different, isn't it? It's weird, and obviously Ange isn't doing particularly well at Forest, is he? So it just goes to show, perhaps can his football can it only work for certain teams? Yeah, it's a funny one, but it'll all come out in the wash, as they say. Tim, what do you want to see Saturday? What sort of lineup do you want to see Thomas Frank go with, and give us a score prediction?
I'm with Gary. I think he'll hopefully Captain Fantastic's back. Yeah. I'm worried about Porro. I like that. Porro's a love him, hate him. I don't think he can defend for toffee, but he's a great wing back. I love Gary's idea of sticking Porro up as a wing back, particularly for a game like this where it's going to be quite hard. And then Kudos on the left. I like the idea of playing Gray back at Ellen Road because I think he's going to have something extra to play for. I think he'll probably play Tell. I'll just say the last time I was at Ellen Road was 1995 when we lost in the FA Cup semi-final to Everton. But that's, here and all there. Terrible game. I'm going for a. I don't think we'll concede. No, exactly. I don't think we'll concede. I think we'll have a 2-0. We'll 1 and then nick 1 at the end. I think he will play. I think he'll play a slightly more creative side, but don't bet on him not being pretty safe on Saturday. I just can't think. Mr. Dead Leg, where he's going to come in at least on the bench to do something. But I was looking on the subs bench here tonight, and they kind of played all they could play, really, apart from a few youngsters. But whether you play Simmons from the beginning or bring him on, I'm not sure. I've got a feeling he'll stay quite defensive, and he'll play Gray, Bergvall, and Paulinho in the middle, and then maybe shift it around up front to give it something a bit different. Maybe play Tell up front. I don't know. He's going to have to change sort of 3 or 4 players, probably just for fitness sake, because one thing Leeds can do is run a lot, and it's a very loud ground to play at. 2-0 to us.
2-0. Okay, Tim, we'll take that. I'll take that all day long and go into an international break with a win. That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 10, Gary, unlucky, I think. Something like that.
Gary M, coming around to you. What do you want to see? And
he will change it up a bit. It will change it up a bit. Kudos, obviously, for me. Pelini comes in. I'm not been a big fan of Tell, so I'm hoping I don't see Tell starting, but again, rotation, players have got to get some minutes. They've got to prove themselves. They've got to get the opportunities. But what I've seen of Tell so far, not really convinced. But look, things can change. We looked at how poor Richarlison was tonight, and he was scoring a bicycle kick not so long ago. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. But for me, Leeds Ellen Road, it's going to be a very, very tough game. I want to say we're going to win it. It's a tough one for me. I'm hoping we can. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. Full stop. Not against Leeds away. I can just see Vicario just under pressure. So I'll go with 3-1 to Spurs, but I think more than likely it's going to be a draw. But I hope I'm wrong.
Well, I was just about to say I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Matisse Tell come in either up front or perhaps on the left wing. Perhaps he'll give him a try there. But look, let's hope we can go to Ellen Road and bring back all 3 points. A tough place to go. A tough place to go before an international break, and it'd be fantastic. But it's a very tough place to go. 12:30 on a Saturday and before an international break. Yeah, as Gary said about our results before international breaks, it's kind of becoming a joke. So let's hope we can get something done.
That? Is it actually 9? Is it? That's just shocking, isn't it?
It's 9. That is terrible. That's nine without a win, I believe, isn't it? Not 9 losses. So, but that's bad, isn't it? But look, let's hope we can do it on Saturday. We will, of course, be back with another podcast on Saturday after the Leeds game. So we will see you all then. Gary Maloney, thanks for joining me. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm always flying about on Instagram, Gary Maloney 13, Facebook, Gary Maloney. Jump on there. I don't really do X. Sort of just do a bit of that and chat a bit of football and usual stuff. Weekends I'm out performing, dancing around here, there and everywhere, as you know. And other than that, just hoping for some good performances of Tottenham. If we can't win these games, try not to lose it. But what I want to see is just more on the pitch. Some good performances. I don't mind if we don't always win, Craig, but I just want to see a bit more than what I saw tonight. That's all.
Absolutely. And Gary W., thanks for joining us. Where can people find you?
No, thanks for having me. Gary R. Ward, pretty much everywhere. X, Instagram, TikTok. Just doing a little bit of more shorts for Chris and this channel. Trying to do, if I can, do one a day as well. So, all over really. Mainly talk about football. I'm a big Italian football fan as well. So if you like Serie A, love to talk about that. Off to the San Siro on Saturday myself, so I'm looking forward to that one. But I appreciate having me on.
No worries. It's funny, I've read about the San Siro today. They actually got planning permission to knock it down, haven't they, and rebuild it from scratch.
Both teams have bought the car park outside, which has been approved. So then they'll build into the car park. So it'll be like what Tottenham did. They'll build the part of the stadium first, and then around it, and then it'll be demolished. So really, really excited to just go and see it. It's one of those iconic stadiums that I think everyone should try and go to see. And for €35 to go and watch Inter Milan play, I don't think it's anything to...
a bit different. The Tottenham price.
I was going to say, Spurs, isn't it?
Pint a pint,
it is. But
unreal.
Yeah. I mean, that San Siro, I remember used to watching Gazzetta Football Italia on a Saturday morning before going to play myself. And remember in the corners, you used to see that there was a spiral staircases in the corners.
Yes, it's still there. It doesn't actually move. That's just people moving. That's the illusion of it. It's actually people moving. It's nothing else. It's just crazy. But I'm going to try and do my inner James Richardson on Saturday with an Instagram post of me pretending to drink coffee and reading the Italian sports papers, which obviously isn't going to go very well because I can't read Italian. So
you haven't got his hairline. I remember that he always used to do that.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
You'll be like me soon, Gary. That's what it is.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Gary, and I hope that goes well. And Tim, where can people find you?
Tim J. Spurrier on Instagram. Doing my thing there. I've got a live radio show on the Face Radio in New York and Totally Wired in London. That's live on a Saturday at 7 p.m. British time, 2 p.m. in New York for a bit of soul and jazz and funk. If you need to chill out after a very stressful performance on the Saturday, I'll be there, and you can catch my stuff on Instagram with the thing just below there. But thank you very much for inviting me on, as always. It's been a delight.
No problem at all. Well, that's it for the show tonight, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already as yet, and leave a review on audio. That would be lovely. As I say, we'll see you all again on Saturday after the Leeds game. Hopefully celebrating a rare Tottenham win before an international break. How good would that be? So
Great.
we don't lose all the time. We've got 2 draws. It's not a disaster, but let's hope we can get a win at Leeds. I'll see you all again soon, and come on, you Spurs.